Hi, I'm Kathy Chan, co-founder and key trainer of PCSC. I will highlight the tips for being smart spokespersons in this video clip, while our veteran trainers, Mr. Louis Liu, will share his insight on the essence of positioning of oneself vis-a-vis the media's power in shaping one's perception. Mr. Chris Chan will cover why need to and how to win the media as airlines for image building. And lastly, Mr. Chan Po Chung will tell you his personal story in covering news worldwide under rough and tough situation, to give you a close look into the mindset of working journalists, in particular, the aggressive type of journalist. In my experience for being a reporter and PR consultant for over 30 years, I have always encountered clients who are good presenters and eloquent speakers in their business operation or professional practice. However, they will turn into lousy spokespersons once being interviewed by the news media. Why? They found the media people alien whom they could not communicate with. For any effective presentation, it is a natural process for the presenter to attract his audience to listen, to convince them to believe, to assist them to remember, and encourage them to act upon his request. This is what Aristotle, father of public speaking, taught his disciples some 2,000 years ago. However, journalists are required by training and professional practice not to believe, or at least not to believe so easily what they are told by the interviewees or news sources. This tells why it is so challenging, if not impossible, for spokesmen to convince the media audience. So rule number one for any smart spokesperson is never assume your media audience will listen, believe, and act on what you told them, though they will remember what you have said, especially those you may regret and wish that you may have never said during a media function. Rule number two, always remember to convey your key messages by the 4 C's. That is to communicate clearly, concisely, consistently, and credibly. For example, the quote on Arabian Nights, 天方夜譚, by the Commissioner of the Police serves a very good example on how a concise and relevant quote can help reinforce the position of an organization on important issues. And in this case, it is public order.
咁會唔會道歉呢？
我唔覺得咧，我哋有咩做錯咗，咁所以咧呢個問題咧，我覺得咧，維護法紀咧需要道歉咧，呢個係天方夜譚。
More, we offer a practical formula, the spam rule, to help the spokesman to frame the issue, prepare the key messages and the line to take, as well as themselves, including outfit, dress code, posture and gesture, before doing any media interview. I look forward to share with you in the coming Maman courses our unique teaching models on the medium is the message in dealing with different forms of media, including the social media, as you will see how a revolution has taken place and how smart spokesmen embrace the change for a win-win outcome. Thank you.
I'm Louis Liu. In the next few minutes, I will talk about perception and perception management. The world is a complicated place, and to make life easy, the average man would tend to make complicated things simple. If the world were so simple, we can easily differentiate the good people from the evil ones. And if we can perceive matters as simply right or wrong, life would be so much easier. So, how is perception being formed? A perception is formed through first-hand experience, third-person influences, and reinforcement over time. Well, in the communication industry, there's almost a cliche saying that perception is reality. And the media, the mass media, plays a significant role in forming the perception. In forming the perception, what the media does is to try to frame the issue, make very complicated things simple, as I earlier said. That's the first thing that they do. The second thing that they do would be they try to name the villains and the hero. So they try to label who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. And 3, they would try to form a community. So after reading certain reports and forming a perception and impression, a member of the public will decide whether he will go for or against certain point of view. So that's the role of the media in forming public perception. So if I go back to some examples, one, say framing the issue. Some member of the press would say the CE's illegal structure thing is just a technical issue. Others put it as an integrity issue. In the case of villains and heroes, when the police is in an anti-crime activity, they bust criminals, they are the hero. But when they are perceived as obstructing, preventing the expression of public opinion or the right of demonstration, they are seen as the villains. So after reading all the reports and coming to a view, the members of the public will either be in one camp supporting this or in the other camp opposing that. Well, perception once formed is difficult to undo or unform. So perception management has to start from an early stage in an engaging manner. What one can do, what one institution can do, is to play an active part in the storytelling process. One, you've got to work with, hopefully work along, sometimes work against the media in trying to frame the issue and get a vantage point, your vantage point. Secondly, you try to put yourself in the shoes of the hero instead of the villain. Three, in the end, hopefully you can get a mass of supporters behind you, more supporters than opponents. This, through the command courses, we hope that we can share with you our experience and views so that at the end of the day, you can put across a perspective that the media and the public might not be so aware of, and you can put it in a credible and persuasive manner.
Hi, I'm Chris Chan, the Senior Training Consultant of PCSC. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the power of the media, by which we are not only referring to the traditional print or electronic news media, but also the social media, which I think no one will deny is getting more and more influential in shaping the public's opinion. So when talking about the media, one question that immediately comes to your mind is probably, why are they so important? Why does the police force as a whole, as well as individual police officers, have to pay so much effort in managing the media? Well, the answer is indeed very simple. It all boils down to one factor, which is its power in setting the public agenda. According to a survey done by the Chinese University of Hong Kong, 73% of the respondents believe the media effectively represents public opinion. This, coupled with its popularity, means the media can be very effective in shaping the image of any organizations, including that of the police force, in the eyes of the public. The public see us through the cameras or the pens of the journalists. The police force image, reputations, and credibility are in the hands of the journalists, which explain why we have to try our best to win them over as our allies. Having said that, I don't mean we have to patronize them. What I mean is we have to see them as our partners rather than enemies, as they provide a very effective platform for delivering our message to the public. All we have to do is to understand their perspective. When they ask very critical questions, they are asking it on behalf of the public so as to safeguard their interests. It's nothing personal. They have nothing against you as a police officers or against the police force as a whole. I have earlier mentioned that we cannot underestimate the power of the social media, which will soon become far more influential than the traditional media. The arrival of the social media is being regarded as one of the 4 revolutions in the history of media, as it has completely reshaped the public spheres and communications practice, particularly in bringing the rise of citizen journalism. Every citizen with a smartphone in hand becomes a journalist. This especially impacts the police officers as they always encounter confrontations when they carry out their duties, particularly during public order events.
OK， 嗱，兩位冷靜，做其他冇問嘢，OK， 好，我解釋俾你聽，好唔好？
慢慢錄低。
嗱，我哋喺度處理緊個事件，呢兩班人咧都涉及呢個事件裏邊嘅，所以喺呢個範圍裏邊。
你唔需要嚇我，你唔需要嚇我。坐先，我唔知喎，我淨係知道佢哋可以入嚟。
小姐，
我話佢哋入咗嚟，點解我唔入啫？你係警告我，但係你冇解釋俾我聽點解我唔可以入嚟。
幫我
我哋翻學。
Hi guys, my name is Chan, Pochong Chan. Throughout my career, I've been to many places from around the world. I have seen the toppling of a government by the sheer power of people in Philippines. I was once put under police custody in Fujian, China, while I was covering a story concerning Mr. Lai Changxin. I was even taken to an unknown place in Pakistan, blindfolded by men carrying AK-47s, just to conduct an exclusive interview with the ambassador of Afghanistan, who was hiding away from the US surveillance. Every now and then people ask me, you must have been thrilled to have taken part in those historical events. And my answer is yes and no. Yes, I was thrilled. I mean, who wouldn't? I can still feel the rush of adrenaline after all these years. And no, because I didn't take part in this event. I was merely there for one reason and one reason only. That is to let you guys to take a glimpse of what was happening in that particular corner of the world at that particular moment. Seeing through the viewfinder of my camera and hearing through my earpiece. Nothing more, nothing less. It must be easy peasy, you may say. Yeah, perhaps, but definitely not to the late Calvin Carter, Mr. Carter. The one behind the story of, I don't know if you have ever heard about that story. The journalist, the vulture, and the little girl. The story is that back in the 90s, early 90s, Mr. Calvin was in Sudan covering the story of refugees. And while he was on the way to the food center set up by the United Nations, he came across a little girl, must be in her, well, I don't know, a couple of years old, sitting alone in the desert with a vulture stalking behind her, apparently waiting for her to die. This particular pictures brought him the Pulitzer Prize, the holy grail of journalism. But it also took his life because he committed suicide a few months later. So whether it's an easy peasy piece of job, I'll let you to judge it.